background check for employers. We're going to go over options employers have at the state level to do a background check directly from the state at reasonable costs. And if you go to sheriffsdepartment.net, you're able to find resources for all 50 states. I'm going to select state of Georgia for this example. Most states will have a very similar structure. Some states do make it slightly more difficult, so you'll have to really look at their whatever background page information we found here for you. There's typically going to be instructions on there if they do make you jump through some hoops, or maybe there are certain limitations. You're able to research that information directly from the state, but most states will have a very similar structure to what I'm about to show you. So you have your essentials when it comes to background checks: court records, recorder's office, criminal records, driving records, business lookup, and license lookup, sexual offender registry. And then at the county level, you can also research. Some states will give you a statewide check when it comes to court records. Some of them won't, so you have to go do it at the county level if you want to look at court records. And in some cases they'll charge you money to do it. At the county level, you're typically able to do it at no cost or very minimal cost. Also jail records are viewed at the county level. So one thing to keep in mind. Let's take a look at some of these more essential record types. So Georgia offers a statewide criminal check, and most states will have something similar to this. In this case, it's a very basic name, date of birth, and a credit card, and they only charge $15. And it'll give you all the criminal related records, at least whatever the state's criteria is set for those. They'll pull those up for you at the state level. Certain states will also have, I'm just going to grab another state here. What they will have is options specifically for employment purposes, and so a lot of states will have this. You have your simple background checks for just individual reviews, and then they'll have some kind of a service specifically that caters to employees or employment type of background checks. You have things that could also utilize fingerprints, and then they'll have options maybe in some kind of an add-on like an FBI check, which is a nationwide type of a criminal check. It's not necessarily going to be as detailed as a state criminal check, but it is something in addition to just a state check. So in this case, it's like $18 for a simple background check, and then $31.25 for a state plus an FBI type of check. So look into your specific state, read the instructions, see what they offer. And for Georgia here, they do have a statewide court check that you can do, which looks at civil records. This could be financials, things like that, criminal. Anytime somebody goes in front of a judge, it will create a court record, some kind of docket, and it becomes a public record, so you're able to take a look at that using court records. Another couple of databases to consider would be driving. You can verify somebody's business, or maybe a license needs to be verified. And most states, if they have the professional license search, and sometimes they'll have two different databases. So like if you have an LLC, if an LLC needs to be verified, that could be in a different database, and then you have your professional licensing database. So if that sort of a check needs to be done, should be done. Sometimes people do travel move from state to state, so it might be a good idea to also check the previous states if that information is known, just to make sure nothing is missed. That's about it in terms of just focusing on criminal records and background checks and court records. When it comes to background checks for employers, there could be a lot of other things to consider. This is just to let you know that there is some information available to you at the state level. It might not be everything that you need, but for public state direct background checks, court records, criminal record checks, you do have some options at the state level. I'll drop a link in the description, or you can just type sheriffsdepartment.net and come on down and see what we can if you can find some valuable information here.